I love it. And look, people got to start getting comfortable on camera. You know, you look at the little black dot in your phone and people have to start telling their stories. I mean, even with me, I've been trying to, I mean, I think I have 6,000, 7,000 posts on my Instagram or something like that. And I did it wrong for a real long time. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't until I got a coach, a branding coach, until I got somebody that was, trying to guide me. I mean, I got a podcast, I wrote a book, I did all kinds of stuff after I got a coach that kind of guided me the right direction. But I've been guiding a lot of these people, even in my coaching program, and I'm trying to get them to do more content. Can you explain to us, or maybe I'll replay this back to my guys and just explain to them why it's so important that we just make lots of content. It doesn't have to always be perfect. And maybe that's the reason why people don't do it, because please talk about that. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about a couple of reasons why, and then I'm also going to talk about how you can kind of overcome that fear of being on camera. So first reason why is because, okay, I post a lot of content, and maybe like 1 out of 100 of them performs well. The others don't. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe 1% of my audience is actually seeing it. Okay. But I keep doing it anyway. Like I'll post on TikTok, gets 20 views. I'll post it again tomorrow. And the reason why is because you just number one reason is you never know, because sometimes I'll post a video that doesn't perform well, but another podcast host like yourself it'll actually hit them because it meant a lot to them, that one person. So as long as it just has to mean something for the one right person, and it can change your life, right? Number one. And number two, like you said, my content was terrible in the beginning. I go back, my first few posts, I'm like, oh, fuck. If I were to redo this again, I would do it like this, right? This is actually why I recommend people to take your old content and remake it, because you'll do it differently, you'll do it better, and you'll see exactly how much you've improved. And then next time you do it again, so on and so on. So just for that practice of getting better and making content, I think it's worth it. Now, how to get over the camera shyness, because that was me. Like every time I hit record, say something, delete, record again, like 20 times, right? And for me, the podcast really helped, because when you're doing a podcast, you're just on a Zoom conversation. Like you're not talking to the green dot. You're not talking to the void, right? You're actually talking to a human being, so it feels more natural. And what I did was I did that, and I started posting that. Like I'll edit my own videos and post it. And what did it for me was just 3 months of nonstop listening to my own voice, watching my own video. Because the first time I saw myself, I was like, oh, I sound like this. It was it was so cringe for like 3 months, right? But then I remember one point I was watching a video a few months later. I was like watching this one video. So I'm like, oh, this guy's dope. Like myself too, looking at my own video. At a certain point, I was like, I stopped being self-conscious about how I sound or anything like that. And I started that practice of making video and watching myself over and over and over, like, hundreds of hours of watching myself actually made me fall in love with myself to a point where like, that guy's dope.
And you were building the muscle, and you were building the muscle, right? I mean, it's like working out, man. You were building the muscle of actually performing on camera or talking on camera, having a conversation on camera. Yeah. So you had talked about freedom. I wrote this down. You said, most people don't want freedom, because I talk a lot about freedom and how much I love freedom, everything about my brand, everything about I've ever won. I mean, I got into business at 21. I became financially independent by 28. I was free, completely freedom. I had $1 million saved in cash. I had passive income, $500,000 a year. And I was completely, in my mind, obviously at that point, I was completely free. And so everything that I've been talking about is always freedom. And then, I'm watching you and you're like, well, people don't really want freedom. And then I kind of started thinking about it, because you're like, well, you don't, you probably didn't think about it like that, and so, but I really liked it because I actually agree with you. So maybe you kind of explain what you meant
Yeah,
in why you believe
yeah,
that people don't really want freedom.
yeah. I think it's related to two things, right? So one example I give is like when you look at a zebra, um, zebras have stripes, but we're like, and we automatically assume, oh, that's a defense mechanism. But that doesn't, when you're in a safari and you have stripes, you're going to stand out more, right? But the thing is, it's a defense mechanism of a herd so that not one zebra stands out. Because if one zebra, like if you mark a zebra with red paint, like that zebra would die in the next hour because lions can coordinate attack and go after that. But the fact that you can't spot one zebra is the reason why lions can coordinate attack and go after it. Same thing with the school of fish. Like if you're a school of fish, the ones in the outside are most likely to get eaten first, right? So most of them want to stay in. Most people want security and safety more than success or freedom. So another example is like they say when people get out of prison after a long time, they actually don't want to leave. They want to stay in prison because they're so used to this like routine and things like that. And here's what I think is happening. Like our entire life, we were told exactly what to do, right? I'll go to school this time, go home this time, eat lunch at this time, read this book. And then you go to college, even in college, right? Like, you raise your hand, you need this to go to the bathroom. And then you go to work and they're like, no, lunch break at here, vacation at this time. And then you go to the DMV, they're like, wait in this line. Everything we do, there's a clear instruction on what to do and what not to do. And because we lived our entire life like that, as soon as we're like, oh, fuck this, we quit our job and we start a new company, we don't know what to do with all this freedom because we don't understand that with freedom comes also all this responsibility now, right? So another example I give is whenever you go out with friends or something like that, they always say, hey, what do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to eat? And everybody's like, I don't know. What do you want? What do you want to watch? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to watch? That everybody pushes off their responsibility, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to just put their foot down, make the decision and say, let's do this. Because if everyone hates that thing, now I'm responsible, right? And that's, people think they want freedom, but once they realize that freedom comes with the responsibility, they don't want it anymore. And that's the real, it's not that people don't, I think somebody like yourself, you're probably that rare zebra or school, the fish that does want to take the risk, does want that responsibility, ownership, and the freedom of be autonomous at the same time. But I think most people rather have security than freedom.
And I think you're 100% right on. And the reason why I told you, I actually, even though I'm like the freedom guy and I'm always talking about freedom and freedom's great and everything, the truth is though, if we were to really think about it a different way, the truth is I actually don't like freedom as much as everybody thinks I like freedom. If I'm being, just straight up, I like when I have a schedule. I like when I go speak somewhere. I mean, I just got back from Italy. I actually did some keynotes out in Italy and Milan and Bologna, and just had a great time. And of course, I've spoke throughout our company, almost every state in Canada, all over Canada. And it's true. I mean, the truth is when somebody says, Daniel, you got to be here at this time, and I'm like one of the most organized people you ever meet in your life. I'm organized, I'm disciplined, I'm focused. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there at that time, and all that kind of stuff. And but I actually like when people tell me what to do. I like when people say, "Hey, be here at this time." And now, on the flip
No,
side,
say,
of course,
yeah.
I love my freedom. I love, but it's actually nice because I have so much freedom that it's nice when people tell me what to do, and you got to be here at this time and do this and talk about this, and we're gonna do, But anyways, I thought I'd mention.
I think it's
that.
kind of like we all want freedom in a specific area in our lives, right? So, for example, You want freedom in the things that you want to say, the topics you want to talk about, and things like that. But when it comes to certain things like when to eat, scheduling, but the things that maybe that are not important to you, maybe you want somebody else to take responsibility for that, right? So yeah, I look at the words freedom and responsibility together. So if you just replace that word, say, oh, I don't want responsibility, right? Yeah, sometimes I don't want responsibility on certain things, but I want to take responsibility on what I say or something like that, yeah.
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.